She used to call me just a driver. Funny how life changes when truth arrives in a car you can't afford. That night, the ballroom lights were blinding. The crowd cheered as I stepped on stage, the cameras flashing, the world watching. And there she was, standing near the back, eyes wide, the same woman who once laughed at me for opening her car door. But that night, she wasn't laughing. Because the man on stage, the one they called the youngest CEO in Dubai's tech industry, was the same man she once called worthless. I still remember how it all began, months before that night. Back then, I wasn't supposed to be anyone important. I had just returned to Dubai after years of building something in silence, a tech startup that no one believed in. I didn't flaunt money, didn't dress fancy, didn't care for luxury cars even though I owned 3. I wanted to understand people, who they really were when the world thought you had nothing. So for a while, I lived quietly. No social media, no branded clothes, just me, my work, and an old car I drove myself. One evening, I was waiting outside a corporate tower. My friend, who managed a luxury car rental service, called me in panic. "Bro, my driver's sick and I've got a high." "Bro, file client waiting for an airport pickup. You're near there, right? Can you cover just one ride?" I hesitated but agreed. One ride, no big deal. That's how I met her. She walked out of the building like she owned the city. Perfectly styled hair, designer bag, and that confident arrogance in her stride. She stopped right in front of me, tapped on the window and said, "You're late. Next time, try being on time if you want a tip." I smiled faintly and nodded. "Sorry, ma'am, traffic." She rolled her eyes and got in the back seat. The moment she saw the old car model, she scoffed. "This is what they sent Doug, whatever." For the entire 40-minute drive, she didn't look up from her phone. I caught fragments of her conversation, her bragging about her job at a big marketing firm, her plans to start her own fashion brand, how she only dates ambitious men. At one point, she asked, "So, how long have you been driving?" I said casually, "Long enough to know most people by the way they treat the driver." She smirked. "That's deep. Do you give all your passengers philosophy lessons?" I stayed quiet. Silence made her uncomfortable. I could see her shifting in the seat through the rearview mirror. When we reached her apartment, she got out, pulled a few notes from her bag and said, "Here, buy yourself something nice, maybe a better car." She left without looking back. That night, I laughed for the first time in months, not because her words hurt, but because they reminded me exactly why I chose to stay low. People like her never see beyond the uniform. Over the next few weeks, fate kept crossing our paths. I started visiting her company. They were bidding for a marketing project for my tech startup, though no one there knew who I really was. I went there as an assistant from another department, just observing quietly. And there she was again, leading her team, confident, dismissive, sharp-tongued. She was talented, I'll admit, but arrogance dripped from every word. When she saw me in the hallway, she smirked. "Oh, the driver, lost your way to the parking lot?" I just smiled. "No, just delivering something." She laughed and walked away. Each encounter revealed more her obsession with status, her hunger for attention, her complete blindness to humility, and somehow, that made me curious. Who was she when no one was watching? One evening, I found out. It was late. Most of her team had left. I was reviewing documents in the conference room when I saw her alone at her desk, head in her hands. The confidence was gone. She looked tired, broken. Against my better judgment, I walked over. "Rough day." She looked up, startled, then sighed. "It's just, no one takes me seriously unless I act like I own the place. You know what I mean." For the first time, her voice sounded human. I nodded. Sometimes pretending to be powerful is easier than admitting you're scared. She looked at me, puzzled, then smiled faintly. "You talk like someone who's been through a lot." I said softly, "You have no idea." That moment, for a second, she wasn't arrogant. She was real, vulnerable, and I'll admit, something in me shifted. Over the next few weeks, we started talking more. Coffee breaks, random messages, small jokes. She still thought I was some delivery guy, maybe a driver doing extra shifts. But she liked the simplicity. She said I listened better than the men in her office. One night, We met by coincidence near the marina. She looked different, no makeup, no walls. We walked along the water, and she told me things she'd never said before. Her struggles, her failed relationships, her loneliness. I listened, no judgment, just silence and understanding. And when she said, "You're not like the others," I almost told her the truth, almost. But something stopped me, because deep down I wanted to see how far her heart could go without labels and money. But the illusion didn't last. A week later, her company's project presentation was scheduled, the one my startup was secretly leading behind the scenes. She didn't know I'd be there. When I walked into the conference room, wearing a formal suit this time, she froze. For a second, she didn't recognize me. Then her expression shifted: confusion, then annoyance. "Wait, what are you doing here?" I smiled, just observing. She turned to her boss, whispering loud enough for everyone to hear, "He's a driver. Why is he even in this meeting?" Laughter rippled across the room. My silence only made her bolder. She said, "Maybe he brought the coffee." Her boss frowned. "Aram, you invited him." Before I could reply, one of my partners entered and said, "Sorry I'm late, everyone. Aram, they're ready for your presentation." The room went silent. Her face drained of color. "Presentation," she whispered. My partner smiled. "Of course, Mr. Aram Khan, founder of Skyline Technologies." She couldn't breathe. Her hands trembled as I walked to the front of the room. "Good morning," I began calmly. "Today we'll discuss how technology can redefine brand visibility, something your company might need." Her eyes never left mine. Every word I spoke was a mirror to her own arrogance. When the meeting ended, she ran out before I could say a word. I didn't chase her. Days passed. Then, an invitation arrived, the corporate gala you saw at the start. She didn't know it was my company hosting the event. She came dressed to impress, hoping to network, and when my name echoed through the hall, founder and CEO of Skyline Technologies, her world stopped. She stared at me like she was seeing a ghost. After the applause, I walked to her table. She tried to speak, but words failed. I smiled slightly. "Still think I should buy a better car?" Her lips quivered. I didn't know. "I know," I said. "That's the point." She looked down, tears forming. "I'm sorry, I was stupid." I leaned closer and whispered, "No, you were honest. You showed me who people really are when they think you're beneath them, and for that I should thank you." Then I walked away. Later that night, standing on the terrace, I looked over the city lights and thought about everything. The revenge didn't feel sweet, it felt empty, because in proving her wrong, I also learned something. Sometimes the real power isn't in making them regret what they said, it's in walking away, knowing you never needed their validation. And that night, as my car waited outside, the same one she once mocked, I opened the door myself, smiled and whispered, "Still just a driver." Because truth is, I drive my own destiny.